and glorify Śrī Advaita-Acharya today. Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta, Nisha Nishavatarakam, Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam, Ranthira Rambhakori Mangala Charana, Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinira Smarana, Tinira Smarana Hoya Vigana Vinashana, Arayasa Safal Nija Vanchita Purana, Advaita Acharya Nityananda Srinivasa, Gadadhara Damodara Murari Haridasa, Arayata Chaitanya Krishnera Bhakta Gana, Bhakti Bhava Shirodhari Sabara Charana, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you so much, dear worshipful devotees, again for joining. So we will read about Śrī Advaita-Acharya on this holy day of his appearance, and take some verses from chapter 6 of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and let's try to recite some. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So we'll begin from chapter 6 of Adi Leela. Vande tam Śrīmad-Advaita Acaryam Adbhuta Cheshtitam Yasya Prasadad Agyopi Tat Swarupam Nirupayet. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I offer my respectful obeisance to Śrī Advaita-Acharya, whose activities are all wonderful. By his mercy, even a foolish person can describe his characteristics. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, before he even begins to talk about Advaita-Acharya, is telling that it is only by the mercy of Advaita-Acharya that I am able to talk about Advaita-Acharya. So who are we to talk about Krishna or Guru or any of these pastimes? Well, by the mercy of the Lord, Śrī Advaita-Acharya, we are able to. Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, all glories to Nityaṁ Prabhu, all glories to Advaita-Acharya, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Pancha shloke kahila Śrī Nityananda Tattva, shloke dvaya kahi Advaita-Acharyera Mahatva. In the 5 verses, I have described the principle of Lord Nityananda. Then in the following 2 verses, I describe the glories of Śrī Advaita-Acharya. So before he begins, he's taking blessings of all the Acharyas, all the Vishnu Tattvas. So this is a first verse in that Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 12 and 13. These 2 are the core verses. So who would like to read text 4? Sudev, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Kṛṣṇa, devotees, Dandat Pranam, all praise to Srila Prabhupada. Happy Advaita-Acharya appearance day. Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya Shrajtayadha Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita-Acharya Ishvara. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Advaita-Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. So is the incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva come together. So this verse talks about that. And this is another 5th verse, also very, very important. Yes, Ravi Prabhu, you want to read this?
Hare Krishna devotees. Yes, Prabhuji. Text 5. Advaitam Harinadvaitad Acharyam Bhakti Sansanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaita Acharyam Ashraye. Prabhuji, thoda scroll up, please. Little bit more, Prabhuji. Scroll up, like, because he is non-different from, yes, because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acarya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. So in this verse, two main words are used. So Advaitam, Hari na Dvaita. Dvaita means two. Dvaita. Na Dvaita or Advaita. So there is no difference between Advaitacharya and Hari. So he is basically non-different from Lord Hari or the Supreme Lord. In the next line, the word used is Acharyam, one who preaches by his own example. What is he preaching? Bhakti Shamsanad, pure bhakti, pure loving devotional service. And therefore he is Bhakta-avataram, Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam, Bhakta-rupa-swarupakam, Bhakta-avataram, Bhakt-akhyam namami Bhakta-shaktikam. So that Bhakta-avataram is over there also Advaitacharya. And to that Supreme Advaitacharya, Ashraye, I take shelter, I surrender. It's a nice prayer to Lord Advaitacharya. So, we'll read a lot of verses. We will read some selected verses because the chapter is very big. So let's read this 12th verse. Would like to read 12th verse? Yes, Vipul Prabhu, continue.
Shri House devotees, number pranam, all goes to Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 12. Jagat Mangal Advaita Mangala Gunadham Mangal Chaitra Shata Mangal Janam. Translation and purport by his divine guest A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada Vijaya. Being a reservoir of all auspicious attributes, Sri Advaita Acharya is all auspicious for the world. His characteristics, activities, and name are always auspicious. Should I read purport or here? Stop.
Yes, Prabhu, you can read the purport.
Purport: Sri Advaita Prabhu, who is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, is an Acharya or teacher. All his activities and all the other activities of Vishnu are auspicious. Anyone who can view the all auspiciousness in the pastimes of Lord Vishnu also becomes auspicious simultaneously. Therefore, since Lord Vishnu is the fountainhead of auspiciousness, anyone who is attracted by the devotional service of Lord Vishnu can render the greatest service to human society. Rejected persons of the material world who refuse to understand pure devotional service as the eternal function of the living entities and as actual liberation of the living being from conditioned life become bereft of all devotional service because of their poor fund of knowledge. In the teaching of Advaita Prabhu, there is no question of fruitive activities or impersonal liberation. Bewildered by the spell of the metal energy, however, persons who could not understand that Advaita Prabhu is non-different from the Vishnu wanted to follow him with their impersonal conceptions. The attempt of Advaita Prabhu to punish them is also auspicious. Lord Vishnu and his activities can bestow all good fortune, directly and indirectly. In other words, being favored by Lord Vishnu and being punished by the Lord Vishnu are one and the same because all the activities of Vishnu are absolute. According to some, Mongol was another name of Advaita Prabhu. As the causal incarnation or Lord Vishnu's incarnation for a particular occasion, he is a supply agent or ingredient in material nature. However, he is never to be considered material. All his activities are spiritual. Anyone who hears about and glorifies him becomes glorified himself. For such activities free one from all kinds of misfortune. One should not invest any material contamination or impersonalism in the Vishnu form. Everyone should try to understand the real identity of Lord Vishnu, for by such knowledge one can attain the highest stage of perfection. Back to Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Such a nice verse, so poetic also. Everything is Mangala. Mangala means auspicious, pure. Advaita-charya is the reservoir of all the auspicious attributes. Gunadhama. This is word used is for Krishna also. Samasta guna ganadhama in the Vibhava Vishesha Bhajan. So Advaita-charya is the Mangala guna, the auspicious qualities. Dham means abode, right? We were talking recently, yesterday, I think we were talking. He's the abode of all the auspicious qualities. Jagat Mangala Advaita is all auspicious for the whole world. Mangala Charitra Sada, his qualities, his characteristics is always Mangala, pure, unalloyed. And Mangala Yanra Nam, whose name, just by chanting the holy names, because whether it's Advaita-charya or Lord Vishnu, Krishna, Govinda, Rama, they're all the transcendental names of the Supreme Lord. So by chanting these names, we will certainly get purified and our life will become all auspicious. So there are a lot of verses, and again, we are not trying to read all the verses of the chapter because it's not practical. In a short time, there are 120 verses. But we will cover certain sections. So now we will talk more about the Lord Advaita-charya in his aspect as a, because he came as Bhakta Avatara, in the mood of the incarnation of a devotee. So let's read about that aspect more from text 27. Yes, Vijaya Mataji, want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Purva yache kaila sarva vishvera srijana avatari kaila ihe bhakti pravartana. Translation. As he had formerly created all the universe, how he descended to introduce the path of bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. The formerly created means the Mahavishnu is the incarnation of Mahavishnu who creates all the universes, come from him. Now the same Mahavishnu has descended to introduce the path of bhakti, as we were discussing just in the text number 5. Acaryam bhakti shamsanad advaitad harinadvaita acaryam bhakti shamsanad. He gave the path of bhakti. He was the one who called out to the Supreme Lord by offering Ganga Jal in water to come, to descend, to deliver the fallen souls of this world. If it would not have been for Advaita-charya, we would not have been here. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahāprabhu would have not come. If Lord comes hearing the cry of a devotee, the call of a devotee, especially like Advaita Acarya, who is sincerely calling to help propagate the bhakti yoga process, the congregational chanting process. So Advaita Acarya has a very pivotal role actually in the entire Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So we are so grateful. So text 28. Pravir Prabhu, want to read, please?
Krishna Prabhu, Hare Kṛṣṇa, devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. জীবন স্তরিল কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি করি দান, গীতা ভাগবতে কইল ভক্তির ব্যাখ্যান. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. He delivered all living beings by offering the gift of Krishna Bhakti. He explained the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-Bhāgavatam in the light of devotional service. Purport: although Sri Advaita Prabhu is an incarnation of Vishnu for the welfare of the conditioned souls, he manifested himself as a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And throughout all his activities, he showed himself to be an eternal servitor. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityaṁ also manifested the same principle, although they also belong to the category of Vishnu. If Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityaṁ, and Advaita Prabhu had exhibited their all-powerful Vishnu potencies within this material world, people would have become greater impersonalists, monists, and self-worshippers than they had already become under the spell of this age. Therefore, the personality of Godhead and these different incarnations and forms played the parts of devotees to instruct the conditioned souls how to approach the transcendental stage of devotional service. Advaita Acarya especially intended to teach the conditioned souls about devotional service. The word Acarya means teacher. The special function of such a teacher is to make people Krishna conscious. A bona fide teacher following in the footsteps of Advaita Acarya has no other business than to spread the principles of Krishna consciousness all over the world. The real qualification of an Acarya is that he presents himself as a servant of the Supreme. Such a bona fide Acarya can never support the demoniac activities of atheistic men who present themselves as God. It is the main business of an Acarya to defy such impostors posing as God before the innocent public. Hare Krishna. So here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining Advaita Acharya's role. Prabhuji was mentioning he has so much impact on our Gaudiya Vaishnavism because he brought Mahaprabhu and Nityaṁ Prabhu. So we can, and Prabhupada is mentioning here that even though he is the Lord Vishnu, he is the Mahavishnu, Karundakshay Vishnu, even then he took the role as a devotee, as an eternal servant of Lord Krishna. And there are so many actually pastimes there where he showed that he is the eternal servant of Lord Sri Krishna. And one of the pastime I just want to share here. So Advaita Acharya was actually, he was 52 years older than Mahaprabhu. So his birth was, his appearance was actually 1434. And Mahaprabhu was 1486. Actually, he was even older than Jagannath Mishra, Mahaprabhu's father. So, Srila Haridas Thakur, after he departed, from the village, he came to Shantipur, And Advaita Acharya, he did first, because even though Haridas Thakur was from a Muslim family, just to teach, because at that time Advaita Acharya was one of the greatest Vaishnava, because Navadvip was actually people, if you look at Chaitanya Bhagavat, it stated that Navadvip people were doing, they were using their money for Durga, Kali, Chondi, this kind of puja, and also they were even giving marriage ceremony for the cats and dogs. Like one person will marry their cats with another person's cats. So that's how they were spending their money. So Advaita Acharya was very concerned. He was amongst few the Vaishnava, real Vaishnava. He was a disciple of Srila Madhavendra Puri. He got initiated in Vrindavan. So Advaita Acharya first, he played a role. He gave Srila Haridas Thakur the Kontimala and everything, and gave him the in his father's Shraddha ceremony. You know, in the Shraddha ceremony, you have to give one person the highest supreme. And Advaita Acharya actually gave that to Srila Haridas Thakur. He showed first that it is not by birth, it is by our character, it is by our how much devotion we have, a person should be glorified. So that's how he, against the so-called Smarta Brahman, he established that a devotee should be given the highest glorification. So you can see that he did so many things. Even before Mahaprabhu appeared, he started actually Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class. Mahaprabhu's elder brother Vishwarup used to go to this class, and he was participating in Advaita Acharya's class in those times. And after when Mahaprabhu was born, there are so many nice pastimes that Mother Sachi will send Nimai, the young Nimai, the 4 or 5 year old Nimai, because Advaita Acharya has a 2 house. He was very actually a rich person, because he had one house in Shantipur, he had another house in Mayapur. So he will come to Mayapur occasionally, and little and at that when he comes to Mayapur, Vishwarup will take his association. He will go to Advaita Acharya's house, and they will read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita together. So he Mother Sachi will send Nimai that go and call your brother, it's lunch time. So Advaita Acharya, so we can see that Advaita Acharya Prabhu, actually, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, even though he knew that he, I just want to share one more pastime here. I just read this morning from Bhakti Ratnakar. So in Bhakti Ratnakar, it is stated that Advaita Acharya Prabhu's father, Kuber Pandit, and his mother, Nabha Devi, they were very great Vaishnavas. So one time, one person blasphemed one of the Vaishnavas in front of them. And they were so upset, both of them, they thought that we should commit suicide. How we heard the blasphemy of another Vaishnavas. So they thought about that. So, and that night they went to sleep. Then they were thinking that next day they will go to nearby river and commit suicide. So that night, a very exalted personality came, very effulgent, and he brought another personality. And he told Kuber Pandit and Nabha Devi, look, don't get upset. The Vaishnavas are going to be glorified in coming in future. And this person and that exalted person showed another person. This person is going to bring the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, to come and propagate the bhakti. So don't take your life. You can be my service. So Kuber Pandit and Nabha Devi, they actually postponed their plan. And next day, Nabha Devi, she felt like that she has somebody in her womb. So that's how Advaita Prabhu was appeared in currently in Sylhet, that place called Laur. So Advaita Prabhu even, and last in our last one time I also shared another pastime. So Advaita Prabhu knew by himself also that, but at the same time, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, that they never posed themselves as a supreme God, because they always took the role of a eternal servant. And there are so many other pastimes that he is glorifying Mahaprabhu, and there are funny pastimes also. So I want to stop here. Prabhu, please add or correct. I'm sorry I took so much time.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is nectar to hear from you. Thank you for sharing these wonderful episodes and pastimes. I think in this verse, the very important point is Bhaktira Vyakhyana. A lot of people were doing Gita and Bhagavat Vyakhyana, or commenting on it, giving explanation. But there were a lot of Mayavadis, impersonalists, and so many different, as we know, Navadvip was like a seat of learning. So the whole world was practically filled with anything but devotees. So a lot of impersonal. So Gita Bhagavad, a lot of people speak, but who is doing Bhaktira Vyakhyana? That only devotees do. Those whose heart is full with bhakti, they only talk about Bhaktira Vyakhyana. Otherwise, a lot of impersonalist conclusions can be drawn from Gita or Bhagavat. By reading Gita, one can deny the existence of God also. Right? One who does not have that mood, one who does not have that bhakti. So therefore, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. should be done under the guidance of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, without Prabhupada's purports, how will we understand? It's a very, very important point that Acharya gave, Gita and Bhagavat, in the light of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada gave the Bhagavad Gita. We open any page of Bhagavad Gita, we will understand about the essence of Bhagavad Gita is to become a devotee. Any page, Karma Kanda section, Jnana Kanda section, and chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18, any chapter we pick, any verse we pick, one will come to the conclusion that Srila Prabhupada is giving the heart of the Supreme Lord, and that is to become a devotee of the Lord. So let's read a few more verses. Text 29. Akshay, Prabhu. Vaswati Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam, every all devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 29. Bhakti upadesh binu tar nahi karjo, অতএব নাম হইল অদ্বৈত আচার্য. Translation. Since he has no other occupation than to teach devotional service, his name is Advaita Acarya. Back to Prabhupada.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Mataji. You read so sweetly, and it's like nectar. So this should be the mood of all the devotees in the parampara of Srila Prabhupada, to chant Hare Kṛṣṇa and to share with others. Therefore, his name was Advaita Acharya. Acharan charati iti acharya. One who preaches by his own example. To be a good example, as we discussed Mangala Charitra, we just read that, and he was one of the main limbs of Lord Chaitanya to share Krishna Bhakti with others. Okay, let's see one more verse. Akshay Prabhu, what are you doing, Prabhu? Okay, read.
Okay, Prabhu. Vaishnavera Guru tenho Jagatera Arya Dui Nama Milane Hala Advaita Acarya.
Yeah. Try to read like a Vaishnavera Guru Tenho Jagatera Arya Dui Nama Milane Haila Advaita Acharya. Try one more time.
Vaishnavera Guru Teno Jagatera Arya Dui Nama Milanea Haila Advaita Acharya.
Very nice. Maybe Baswati Mataji will read nicely. Then you can read the translation.
Let me prove, Prabhuji. Tell me to
Want
read.
to try? You read nicely the Bengali verses.
Vaishnavero Guru Teho Jagotero Arjo Dui Nam Milane Hoilo Advaita Acharya.
So this N is silent in Bengali. Is it like that? Teho?
Teho.
Is it
Bro,
Teho?
yes.
So N
Yes.
is silent?
Yes, actually it's called in Bengal, it's called Chandra Bindu. So we pronounce like Teho. Yes.
Teho.
Not
Vaishnavera Guru Teho Jagatera.
Pero Arjo Dui Nam Milane Hoilo Advaita Acharya.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Thanks for helping. Yes, Lakshay, Prabhu, you can read the translation in purport.
Translation: He is the spiritual master of all devotees and is the most revered personality in the world. By a combination of these two names, his name is Advaita Acharya. Purport: Śrī Advaita Acharya is the prime spiritual master of the Vaishnavas, and he is worshipped by all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas must follow in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya, but by so doing, one can actually engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji.
So did you understand, Prabhu? Thank you for reading.
That Advaita Acharya is like a devote, kind of like the best of all Vaishnavas. So we should like respect him and like follow his footsteps, kind of.
Very nice. So Dui Nama Milane. So what does the Dui Nama here? What are the two names? Dui means two. Nama means name. Right? So what's the two names?
Guru and Arjo. So Vaishnavera Guru এবং জগতে Arjo.
Vaishnavera Guru, Jagat Arya.
Advaita
Okay.
Acharya.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was also thinking, because that's what it says. Dui Nama Milane Haila Advaita Acharya. So it's in this also, like apostrophe, or sorry, quotes also. So Advaita plus Acharya becomes Advaita Acharya. Advaita means is non-different from Lord. Advaita Harina Advaita. And Acharya means he is the Guru. He is Vaishnavera Guru. Jagatera Arya. He is the supreme spiritual master of the whole world. Of all the devotees, Advaita Acharya is the supreme spiritual master. Therefore, he is called Advaita Acharya. Okay. Let's read 31. Yes, Devaki, Mataji, want to read?
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, everyone. Kamalanayane ratino yate anga amsha Kamalaksha-caritāmṛta nama abhadamsha. Since he is a limb or part of the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, he also bears the name Kamala-laksha. Hare Kṛṣṇa, come back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Quite straightforward. Lord has multiple names connected to lotus: Kamala Netra, Kamalaksha, Kamala Nayana, Kamalaja, Kamala Nabha, Pankaja, Pankaja Lochana, Pankaja Netra, all these lotus-eyed, comparing the beauty of the Lord to lotus. So he's also known as basically Kamalaksha, lotus-eyed. So let's see the next few verses. 32. Would like to read? Ekant Prabhu, want to read?
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dhanavad Pranam. Text 32. Ishvara Swarupya Aya Parishadghana Chaturbhuja Pita Vasa Yachaina Narayana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. His associates have the same bodily features as the Lord. They all have 4 arms and are dressed in yellow garments like Narayana. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So I think this has come multiple times. The Lord associates, or all the Vaikuntha-vasis, have the same pitambara or yellow dress, similar to Lord Narayana, and they have the 4-armed form as well. So 33. Anyone who has not read wants to read? Vishnu Priya Mataji, want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please.
Advaita Acarya Ishwarena Amshavarya Tanra Tattva Nama Guna Shakali Ascharya. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Śrī Advaita Acarya is the principal limb of the Supreme Lord. His truths, names and attributes are all wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Wow, thank you so much. So Advaita Acharya Ishwari Amshavarya. Amsha means part. Varya means topmost. Remember, Prahlad Maharaj addresses Asur Varya. So Asur Varya, the principal demon, the greatest demon. So he's a part, not only just a part, but the principal part, the main. And then Tattva Nam Guna. So name, Tattva, the truth. Guna means qualities or attributes. Sakale Ashcharya. All these, Sakala means all, they are all wonderful or transcendental. They are not ordinary. Name, form, qualities of the Supreme Lord and his principal parts are totally transcendental. Janma karma cha me divyam. So let's read the next verse. 34. Very, very important. Yahra tulasi jala yahra hunkare swagana sahite chaitanya avatare. He worshipped Krishna with tulasi leaves and water of the Ganges and called for him in a loud voice. Thus Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on earth, accompanied by his personal associates. Hunkar, loudly chanting. Loudly chanting is very, very powerful. When there is kirtan, there is opportunity to chant loudly, we should really pour out our heart and our words and our all, chanting, dancing. This is the yoga dharma. This is what Lord Chaitanya did. Tulasi dala matrina jalasya chulukinava vikrinite swam atmanam varada bhava shobhane. The tulasi jala, you offered patram pushpam phalam toyam. You offered tulasi leaves and jala, Ganga water, and Yanhara Hunkari, loud roaring. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That made Lord Chaitanya come. Not only Lord Chaitanya, Swagana, with his, Gana means associates, Sahite. Along with his associates, Lord Chaitanya came and descended on the earth. Let's read 35. Anyone? Yeah, I think I'm going to chance to read so we can. Shushilpa? Shushilpa? Mataji?
Jai Shri Krishna. I will try. Prabhu.
Please try.
Yandra dwara kaila Prabhu kirtana prachara. Yandra dwara kaila Prabhu jagat nistara. It is through him, Advaita Acarya, that Lord Chaitanya spread the Sankirtana movement, and through him that he delivered the world.
Thank you so much. You read so nicely.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, by the medium, Yandra means to that, Yandra Dwar, by the medium of him here refers to Advaita Acharya, by the medium of Advaita Acharya, Kirtana Prachara. So, by the medium of Lord Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya spread Kirtana, and by his medium, only Prabhu Jagata Nistara. He delivered the whole world. If it, again, as we discussed, if it would not have been for Sri Advaita Acharya, then the whole world would have been suffering because of lack of Krishna consciousness. Because the Lord comes to, when the devotee calls, killing the demons and all that is secondary. But the main reason is to please his devotees. That's why the Lord comes. So to please the devotee, oh, my devotee is calling. Advaita Acharya is calling. How can the Lord say no? So the Lord descended. Now we will read a few more verses, but we'll read from text 83 onwards now. This is about Tattva, about the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. And we know it was Advaita Acharya only at the Advaita Vat, which is still present if you go to Vrindavan, and Sri Radha Madan Mohan Mandir, and rest to the left of it is Advaita Vat, where Lord Sri Advaita Acharya only found this Madan Gopal deities, which were later worshipped by Sanatana Goswami. So let's read this wonderful few verses about the relationship of the devotee and the Lord. Yes, 83. Yes, you want to read this one?
I can read, Prabhuji. Ek Krishna Sarvasebho Jagato Ishwar Ar Jata Saptar Shabakanuchar. Translation by his device S.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Krishna, the one master and the Lord of the universe, is worthy of being served by everyone. Indeed, everyone is but a servant of his servants. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Ekaleshwara Krishna or a Sababhritya. There's only one Supreme Spirit God. Ekaleshwara Krishna. Similar verse. Eka Krishna Sarva Sevya Jagata Ishwara. Arayata Sabba Tara Sevaka Anuchara. Rest everyone is the Anuchar, the servant of the servant, Sevak Anuchar. So this should be our mood. Das, das, dasanuta. Not just Sevak of the Lord, but Sevak Anuchara. Gopir Bharatur Pad Kamalayor Das, das, dasanutas. To become the servant or the follower of the servant. I was hearing actually, like yesterday, a lecture by His Grace Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. He was narrating some of the pastimes when he was present with Srila Prabhupada in the Vrindavan temple in the quarters. Very nice story which comes to my mind in this regard. So he was serving Prabhupada, cooking for Prabhupada, massaging Prabhupada's divine transcendental body, and Prabhupada's health was deteriorating, a lot of ups and downs. But finally, then other devotees also used to come. And everyone wanted to meet Prabhupada, but everyone cannot meet Prabhupada because Prabhupada is resting, Prabhupada is doing some seva, Prabhupada's. So it was very difficult to be a personal servant of Prabhupada. Yes. But in a transcendental way. So one time Prabhupada realized that Prabhupada was actually not eating because of his health. And Prabhupada was feeling that the devotees were really kind of not happy to see his health deteriorating. They wanted him to eat. So Prabhupada asked Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, okay, you make poha the way I have taught you. Okay, you make poha the way I have taught you. Okay, you only make. And Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta said, oh, Mother Yamuna is here. She is the greatest cook of the Hare Kṛṣṇas. She is here. Prabhupada said, no, you go and cook the way I have taught you. Okay, Prabhupada. So he went to the kitchen, and then everyone used to hear with the doors, like, what did Prabhupada say? What did he? So eager, what can we do? What can we do? So Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta said to Mataji, Prabhupada wants poha. Okay, let me cook poha for Prabhupada. Oh, sorry, upma, I said, right? Upma. Yeah. Let me make upma for Prabhupada. Then Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta said, no, Prabhupada asked me to make, so I make the upma the way he has taught me. And Mother Yamuna, immediately she said, okay, great. Please tell me how I can assist you. And that was so amazing. Prabhu said, the greatest cook, of course, she is the greatest cook of the Hare Kṛṣṇa. Prabhupada has taught her so many items personally, and she had explored the whole India. There's like a master encyclopedia of cooking book written by Yamuna Mataji. And she was immediately such a humble mood. She immediately said, okay, let me please tell how I can assist you. Only a person who has no false ego can do that, right? Otherwise, I can cook better than you. I know how to do this. But ultimately, what is the goal? To please Guru. What has Guru told? That you do the cooking, I be the assistant. So she was immediately, so I really liked. This is the real mood of Seva Ka Anuchara. This is our real position. If we be in that position, we'll always be happy and blissful. Because real master is Krishna, and Krishna is more happy by his devotees? No, Krishna is more happy by the devotees of his devotees. If someone says, I'm a devotee of Krishna, is actually not a devotee of Krishna. If someone says, I am Das, I'm the servant of the devotees, I am Sevaka Anuchara, he is a real devotee. And that is the real formula for happiness. Let's see, 84 verse. Yes, Masuti Mataji.
Text 84. সেই কৃষ্ণ অবতীর্ণ চৈতন্য ঈশ্বর, অতএব আর সব তাহারও কিঙ্কর। Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. That same Lord Krishna has descended as Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, therefore, is his servant.
Wow. Thank you. So the same Supreme Lord, Śrī Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, and Radha and Krishna come together as Lord Chaitanya. And we are all Tahara, right? Tahara will read Kinkara.
Yes, Prabhuji, actually this Chandrabindu, that if you see the Bengali, this Bengali word tahar, and there is a chand, it's like we'll call Chandrabindu, means showing respect. Like when we say tar means someone, like, but when we say tahar means giving special respect. So that's why this N with dot, it comes like tahar means a respected person. Yeah. So two types of tar, regular tar, and this is tahar, means a most respected person. So that way, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Thingra.
Tahara Kinkara. We are all his servants. Kinkara. Thank you.
So Prabhuji, that is Kinkara or Kikara? Because there is a Chandrabindu on the end. So
Kinkara.
Kinkara?
Yes.
Kinkara? Okay.
Kinkara.
You have to say Chandrabindu here.
Okay.
Yes, I can understand this is Chandrabindu here. Is Hindi also similar? Kinkara. Kinkar means like servant or dog, right? Similar to Kukura is actually dog. Sarvasya tomar charane sampiya ore chitomar ghore tumito thakur tomar kukur. It's a very beautiful bhajan by the way. You are the master, I am your dog. Right? There's another beautiful. Chinmaya bhaskara tumi, kiranira karna ami, prabhu tumi, ami tomar sa. Charane piyusha tava mama sukha suve bhava, tava nam amrita mura asha. You are the master, you are the sun, I am the tiny fragment light of the sun. You are the master, I am the servant. By taking shelter of your lotus feet, this is my real asha. This is a desire for devotee. This is real our position to be to be happy in life. If someone says, okay, no, I don't want to accept this position. Let's see what happens to such a person. Ravi Prabhu, you want to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji, I should. Hare Krishna. Keha mane, keha na mane, saba tanara dasa, ye na mane tara haye, sei pape nasha. The translation: some accept him, whereas others do not. Yet everyone is servant. One who does not accept him, however, will be ruined by his sinful activities. When a living entity, or do you want me to not the purport, Prabhuji?
Yeah, you can read, please.
Okay. When a living entity forgets his constitutional position, he prepares himself to be an enjoyer of the material resources. Sometimes he is also misguided by the thought that service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not absolute engagement. In other words, he thinks that there are many other engagements for a living entity besides the service of the Lord. Such a foolish person does not know that in any position he either directly or indirectly engages in activities of service to the Supreme Lord. Actually, if a person does not engage in the service of the Lord, all inauspicious activities encumber him, because services to the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, is the constitutional position of the infinitesimal living entities. Infinitesimal living entities. Because the living entity is infinitesimal, the allurement of material enjoyment attracts him, and he tries to enjoy matter, forgetting his constitutional position. But when his dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, he no longer engages in the service of matter, but engages in the service of the Lord. In other words, when one is forgetful of his constitutional position, he appears in the position of the Lord of material nature. Even at the time, he remains a servant of the Supreme Lord, but in an unqualified or contaminated state. Prabhuji, as I understand here, it's always, I have heard from all the Acarya and Prabhupada saying, either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. You are serving one or other. So this is what is explained here. Like either the person sometime for whatever reason, they forgets, if I forget my constitutional position, which is like I'm the Nitya Das, that is my actual position, Nitya Das, and as we are listening now, Dasanu Dasanu Das. But for whatever reason, if we forget this position, then we think that serving Lord is not the absolute thing. But here the author is, the Kavidas is explaining that no matter what you do, you are serving the God only. Because even if you are serving the Maya is being basically controlled by the God. This is what I understand, Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Keha mane, keha na mane. Some people may accept it. Some people will not accept it. What will they not accept? Sabatan Tara Das. So you have to read the end silent here when there is Chandrabindu. Thanks, Mataji, for sharing. Sabatara Das. So everyone is their servant. Whose servant? Krishna's servant. Because this is our constitutional position. Now, those who accept it, they will be happy and joyful. Ye na mane, jo nahi manega, tara haya sei pape nashe nash. Iska kya hoga? He will be ruined by sinful activities. Paap se nash ho jayega. Because when we forget Krishna, we end up serving the illusory energy, which takes us to degradation. Krishna bhuli se jiva nadir bahir mukh, atev maya tare de samsara dukh. When jiva forgets Krishna, then Maya grabs. And Maya gives lot of dukkha. Atev maya tare de samsara dukh, when the jiva is caught up. But when the jiva remembers Krishna, that I am the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, then the jiva rekindles the fire of devotion and Krishna takes the reins. And then Krishna helps him overcome all these ups and downs in the life and goes back home, back to Godhead. Then no more dukkha, only sukha. So sukha kartum avyaya. By remembering Krishna, we'll be happy. By forgetting Krishna, we'll be miserable. Last verse for today. Advaita Acharya is loudly singing and dancing and saying this. Saying this means the one which we are going to read now. This will be the last verse. So who wants to read this? On Advaita Acharya's appearance. Yes, Prabhu. Please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Chaitanya Radhasa Muni, Chaitanya Radhasa, Chaitanya Radhasa Muni, Tara Dase Radhasa. Translation: I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. Very good. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Mother did this one also. We'll read Mui or Muni? Mui.
Yeah, muy, Prabhuji, muy. So N
You
is
want to recite?
Chaitanya das muy, Chaitanya das muy, tar dasero das. Muy.
Yeah, now I think I'm getting it. I was thinking, but I just want to make sure that I'm thinking rightly. So such a beautiful verse, easy to remember, easy to learn. Who am I? Chaitanya Das Moi Chaitanya Das, the servant of Lord Krishna. And I am the servant of Lord Krishna, same word. Chaitanya Dasa, Chaitanya Dasamo. So same line basically. Tara Dasera Das, not just the servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am the servant of the Das of Lord Chaitanya. Tara Das. Tara Das means Chaitanya's Das. I am the Das of Chaitanya's Das. This is the mood of Dasa Anuvrita. What was the word used here? Sevaka Anuchara, or Dasir Anuchara, or Das Anudas. All the same meaning here. Chaitanya Dasa Moi Chaitanya Da Chaitanya Dasa Tara Dasera Das. So everyone can try to remember. Right? This is the prayer of Lord Advaita Acharya. This is the prayer which he is loudly doing hankara, chanting, dancing. But I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. So we can remember this mood of Lord Chaitanya as the servant, as the devotee incarnation. Although the Supreme Lord, but the Lord wants to become the servant. This is bhakti. In material world, everyone wants to become great. Oh, I'm boss, anu boss. But in bhakti, everyone wants to become dasira das. Because this is the formula for happiness. It's the formula for when we serve Krishna, we become happy. Bhaktaram yaktitapasam sarvalokam ishwaram suridam sarvabhutanam jatva mam shantim uchiti. So let's pray on this auspicious appearance day of Śrī Advaita Acharya appearance day. Then he is the original Guru, as we just read. He is the Vaishnavira Guru. He has multiple roles, but in the mood of in the incarnation of devotee. So nicely serving the Supreme Lord, although he is so elder, such erudite, giving the Bhagavat and the Bhakti Vyakhyana. So we can pray in so many ways that we also follow in the become Anuchar of the servant of Lord Advaita Acharya, Lord Krishna, and continue the path of loving devotional service by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. and make our life successful. And this is the real goal. Śrī Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Caitanya Caritāmṛta ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Mahāprabhu ki jai, Śrī Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta ki jai.
Prabhuji, one quick question, Prabhuji, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, you said two questions actually. One, you said, Prabhuji, Advaita Acharya is combination of both Sadashiva and Mahavishnu, Prabhuji, or just only Mahavishnu?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Both, right?
That's what I heard. Yes.
Okay. And another simple question, Prabhuji. So these translations were done by Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, and the purports are written by Prabhupada, Prabhuji. Is that it is, or both translation and purport by Prabhupada? I'm just trying to understand.
No. See, original text is in Bengali by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami.
Okay.
Prabhupada gave the translations and purports in English language.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol. Anand Pranam. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripasindhubhyo vichakritanam pavane Vishnu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you.